What's up, guys? Let's light this candle. It's a Tuesday night. It's 9 o'clock here in the East, 8 o'clock in the Central Time Zone, 10:30 for all you in Newfoundland. It's Hobby Hotline, Tuesday night overtime edition, episode number 207. I'm Chris Harris, and I'm joined today by Danny Black.
Glad to be here.
And I'm honored because I don't think I've ever done a show with you, but Logan Ward, the greatest NASCAR card collector ever.
PSA Hall of Famer.
PSA Hall of Famer.
It's great to be with you guys. I'm actually building an ark out back right now because it's getting ready to rain yet again for the umpteenth day in a row.
Umpteenth, yeah. Let's I know there's been blizzards up in the Great Plains and biblical rains in the south central part of the country. So, yeah, should have built that ark a while ago. So,
yeah, and there were tornadoes, I think, today in Texas. So I hope all our Texas friends are doing okay.
Yeah, same here. I got the link in the chat, so if you want to join us, I want to lead off tonight with a slide that I just made, and allow me to show this. This is the product release schedule for Topps for just the month of December. Hold on, let me bring it up here. Come on. There we go. Share. All right. This is the product release schedule just for baseball, just for Topps. Now, I kind of cheated here because I included Bowman Chrome and Topps Holiday, which came out the last day of November. But since then, we've had Stadium Club, Brooklyn, Rip Card, Sapphire Chrome, Bowman Chrome X, which I guess if you're straight edge, I don't know. Bowman Sapphire Chrome, the second series, Bowman Platinum, which is a retail-only product, which I was at Walmart today. I haven't seen it, so I don't know if this release date is right. Heritage High, Bowman Chrome Mega Box supposedly is out. But that's not all, because we have Bowman Draft First Edition, because apparently we need two different versions of Draft now. Chrome Update, Chrome Black, Triple Threads, regular Bowman Draft, 5-star, and then sometime this month, we're supposed to get Bowman's Best, Topps Gilded, Topps Japan, Topps UK. But wait, there's even more, because we still haven't gotten, this is bleeding into 2023. We're getting archived snapshots, whether you like it or not. Finest is finally coming out after 7 months of delay. Topps Chrome, the Ben Baller edition, because apparently there's not enough Topps Chrome out there. We need another edition of it. Then Gold Label in February, Inception in February. Oh, and if you thought there wasn't enough Chrome with Ben Baller, there's Chrome Sonic coming out in February. And then sometime in 2023, we don't even know yet, Series 1. How is the market supposed to absorb all this? And second of all, a lot of these products are just rehashes of products that we've already seen. So why? Why do we have to have all of this product? Who's going to buy it?
Yeah, welcome back to the '90s. This is kind of like going to Toys R Us, Woolworths, and buying all the different little box sets that you did back in the day.
But here's the thing though, with those box sets in the 90s, they didn't have the same checklist, the same design, and the same photos of the sets that we already collected months ago.
True.
Is this the end of a supply catching up issue, or is this something that'll be changed with Fanatics being more involved in the future? You know, is
Now,
this just kind of like a weird year of everything?
there are some products that have been delayed. Like I mentioned, Finest is normally
And some of these will
summer
probably be delayed.
release. Stadium Club is normally what, August, September-ish. But you take a look at some of these other brands on here. Let me bring the shared screen in again.
Heck, I'm waiting for Topps.
How many different versions of regular Topps do we need? Topps UK, Topps Gilded, Topps Japan. I mean, first of all, if this is really for the Japanese market, why are the cards in English? Just a thought.
Are you a Stephen Wright fan, the comedian?
I'm aware of him. Why?
Okay, watch it on YouTube later. That was hysterical. That was Stephen Wright.
Oh, okay. I mean, how many different versions of Bowman Draft do we need? Do we really need a first edition this year? Do we really need a mega box version of Chrome this year?
Is this like the card version of speed dating? We try out everything really quick and figure out if we like anything.
Yeah, buy a pack or two.
Right? You got to sample. You got to sample them all. I mean, I can't think. I mean, from a logistics standpoint, Chris, can you imagine going to a shop and actually being up against that wall?
Where do you put all of this?
That's what I'm saying. Like, can you imagine being in a store and actually having that wall of wax on that list you just showed? I mean, that would be an unbelievable wall of wax.
And are you ever going to get rid of it? That's the thing. If you're a dealer.
Well, I guess the only thing to be fair is how much of that was retail and how much of that was hobby.
Some of this was retail. I will give them that.
As a father of kids who doesn't break a lot of wax, I will say it is nice to find a lower end product sometimes retail.
Like Bowman Platinum's retail. But does anybody really get excited with Bowman Platinum?
So
in the hierarchy of Bowman brands, it's probably at or near the bottom.
Agreed. My 11-year-olds, it's a nice looking card for somebody who I can get into at a price point a little bit easier.
Okay.
But that doesn't explain 394 different sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can do a low, a middle, and a high without having 400, you know.
Yeah, this past Saturday I was at my LCS and we were talking about, he had Topps 2022 Formula One flagship. And I said, how much did you get? He said, I had to buy a case. He goes, I have to buy a case of everything that Topps sells. I'm like, wow. He goes, you should see the back room of all the stuff I've got that's, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to sell it all. Just because, the market is down right now. So, I kind of feel for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. My local hobby shop for National Hobby Day had a tremendous amount of wax sales. I wonder if it's not part of this conversation and what they know is coming up for release.
Oh, I think so. I mean, he sold me a box of F1 like cheaper than what he paid for it. He's just trying to get rid of it. And plus, I was a friend of his, but still, he's just trying to get rid of all that stuff. It's just not moving right now.
But to Chris's point, if all this stuff's coming in, they got to clear out what they have to even get it on a shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Rich. And Rich, if you're out there, come on and call in, please. I have a few questions I want to ask Rich about this. So remember, December is the end of the quarter for Topps, and that still does matter. Yeah, but does that mean Topps had a bad year this year that they have to, pile everything in December just to make the nut this year? I don't know.
I mean, a lot of companies do that. They're trying to make numbers, so they're trying to get all that product out. I mean, I know there's been supply chain issues and all that, and I'm hoping that next year we're not in the same boat that we are in this year. I'm hoping they can finally get caught up.
Well, yeah, I mean, and some of the things on the list, sadly, are going to continue to get delayed. I mean, that as somebody who waits on a lot of these products or some of these products, there's no way they're hitting these targets.
There he is, Uncle Rich.
Hey there. I heard that I got the clarion call to call in, so
Hey, Rich.
I figured I would. And Chris, I know it's probably not quite the same because Fanatics is probably a little bit different. But back in the day, you always saw more products come out in March, June, October, and December when when all the quarterly numbers had to be hit. Now this year is a little bit goofier, so I'm not necessarily going to say it's all the quarterly numbers, but if there's any investments involved, and this is just a business level, nothing more, and there's still a quarterly number to be hit, you're going to hit it in December. And so that could be why there's so many products. And supposedly, and I don't know which printing press Fanatics has purchased, but remember they did buy at least one, if not both, of the printing presses down here in the DFW area. And therefore, they're able to crank out more stuff if that is true. I don't know if anybody's officially commented on that, but if they have bought the printing presses, well, then they're first in line, and they're trying to make their numbers, and then they got to pay for the printing press they just bought. This all makes sense if you just think about this on a business level, and I try to look at everything in this business on a business level. And I'm still, at heart, I'm still a collector. I get that. And there'll probably be some products.
It is the holiday season.
There'll probably be some products that will be so reasonable you'll just say, hey, that's great. I'll take my kid, I'll take myself to the hobby store, and I'll buy one of those, where I might not have otherwise. And I've told the story to a couple people. I went to Triple Cards last week, and they're doing a Secret Santa program. And I bought a couple boxes for my Secret Santa person. And one of the boxes was so cheap, and the guy was telling me, I said, I'll get one of those at that price. And I'm thinking, what a great way they did of doing business and moving some of the excess inventory. And plus, people are going to open product, but that's a different subject for a different day. But I'm still saying this has to do, I'm 75% convinced with quarterly numbers.
But here's the thing. It's not that they're making a lot of products. A lot of the products that Topps are making are just rehashes of products that we've already collected. Why do I need to buy Topps again just because it has candy canes all over it?
Well, Chris,
why do I need to buy a Bowman X or Bowman?
Let me just tell this person
it looks like it was run over by a truck.
Let me call you back. I'm on Hobby Hotline. You're welcome to call. You're welcome to call in, Patrick. Okay.
Cool.
One of the things is and I always point this out, when you're a card company, if you're doing, and these are called parallels, you don't have to buy another photo. You've already bought the photo.
Exactly. There's no effort here. So why do I need to buy this?
You don't need
Why
to
should I give this company my money if they're not going to put any
Chris,
time
you don't need to
or
do
effort
anything
into something?
But it makes the card company more money if they don't have to do all fresh photos. It's again business. It was why they did so many parallel sets. It's why Panini has 40 parallel sets in Prism. It makes the collectors feel good. They have, they're getting something out of the packs. But B, you don't have to buy new photos. You buy one photo and you make 40 variations. All you're doing is buying the same photo and you're just using it again. Again, it's all business. And if you look at it as business, it makes sense.
All right. I want to shift gears on this topic. And the reason why I brought you in, Rich, because you're one of the few people that I know that has been a collector longer than I have. So you probably remember this, okay? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I know. I collected when dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Yeah.
I get that.
Okay. Do you remember in 2009, okay, when it was announced that Topps was going to get the exclusive license from 2010 on? They were taking away the license from Upper Deck. And
That
do you remember
actually that
a few
happened in
years
2000.
earlier
Actually,
than that?
Chris, Upper Deck still had a license in 2010.
Well,
They actually had their
they
near-death
made that
experience
bootleg
in
set.
2010, and after that, that's when they became the exclusive. And then Panini was able to come back to get the Players Association license.
Okay, well, that's the reason why I brought that up is the justification for that, and the justification for pulling the license from Donruss Playoff after 2005 was, well, there are just too many products on the market. And by consolidating them first from 3 to 2 and then from 2 to 1 licensee, we're going to have fewer products on the market, right? Here we are now, and we have Topps making what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well over 15 products in 1 month.
Chris, you have to remember, it worked for many years. It worked, and then a few years ago, the market started getting to the point where more of these, I'm going to use the term parallel sets, was something people were buying, and they could make money off them. But for 10 years, from 2006 to 2016, the market was pretty stable in terms of less sets being done. So it really did work. I mean, I was still at Beckett in 2006. I will tell you, 2006 and 2007 were real pleasures compared to, the previous 5 years of the decade. It was actually we had 90 plus products before Fleer went out. In 2004, I think we counted 92, 93 products for the year. It got to a reasonable 35, 36 products for a few years and then crawled up. And only in the last 3 or 4 years, last 4 or 5 years, are we getting back to that number. And I think part of it, as I said, there's been a direct-to-consumer aspect to this. And some of that is parallel. But I always said for the card companies, the end game is direct to consumer. As it turned out, store owners and the hobby was stronger than anybody thought. Thank goodness. But for a long time, it did work with a reduction of product.
Do you think though, because, I think from what I understand, it takes about a year for Topps to go through the product development process from start to street date. Do you think
that's correct? The Panini product managers have told us at the Dr. Beckett hobby dinners, or back in the day, that it's about 11 to 12 month process. So I'm sure Topps is an 11 to 12 month process too. So that number is a public number that's been posted on web chats. So that's on web. But that's a perfectly good point, Chris.
Do you think Topps is made? Do you think that when Topps started developing these products this time last year, or even before that, in the summer of 2021, that they thought that the market was going to continue to be as hot as it was in 2020, 2021, continuing on into 22, and do you think that's one of the reasons why we're seeing so much product now?
Well, I think you said it correctly too. You were pretty much dead on. You mentioned that not only I talk about the quarterly numbers, but on top of that, the supply chain issues are starting to get solved, and the printing presses are getting back to normal. That is allowing all this to come out. At some point, everything has to eventually come out, but it's and so some of this is just the perfect storm. If I remember, 2021 Upper Deck, the Cup, their flagship product has yet to come out. We're almost in 2023, and we're still waiting for 2020, 2021 Upper Deck product. So
is it
there's
to a
still
point
a
though
little
that
bit of this left.
Is it to a point now where it's gotten so delayed though? It's like I said that 2022 Finest Baseball, which normally should come out in June, July, is going to be coming out in January 23. Is it gotten to the point where some of these products have gotten so delayed that you might as well just cancel them now?
Mm-hmm.
You might as well just cancel 21.
You've spent the
and
money
put all
on
that
them.
stuff into 2020 next year's product.
And I don't understand the concept, but the money's been spent. If the money's been spent for the photographs and all the design, you'll want to get it out. And if you get it out before the 2023 sets come out, it's not ideal, but at least you're not infringing on the 2023 sets, which are going to hit sometime in early February. I'm sure I'm not thrilled. I know you're not thrilled, but it's okay because you've spent the money. And if you spent the money, you got to do something. This is all business. This is not. You're looking at this from a collector viewpoint. I'm trying to look at this from the business viewpoint.
Is it possible to have a redemption set?
There's been redemption insert sets. I imagine you could have a redemption set. Actually, there was a redemption set in 2011 when Topps did the second year of the vintage card things, and you pulled the things. You got to 45 squares. You got a specially made top set. I can actually show it to you. It's the one that says Diamond Anniversary. I still have that one. I forgot to give it to the person when he bought me out, so I actually kept that. It doesn't have the update, so I didn't get a Trout. But it's
you better hope they're not watching, Rich.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, at this point, he did well enough.
Comment. I want to breathe through some of these comments. I don't understand why we're complaining about new products coming out. People can buy them if they like it or not. Fine. What I'm complaining about is it's that a lot of these products are just the same product over and over again. And, why do you need to buy all of this stuff? I'm not. Let's see, what else? Somebody answer this. What happens to unsold product at Target and Walmart? Who gets hit with the cost of excess? Does it go back to Topps or Panini? Or does Walmart get hit 100%? I don't think that's even Walmart's inventory.
Chris, you're absolutely right. And then it'll hit clearance. And then if it doesn't sell, it'll go to a repacker. So it will eventually get to you one way or the other.
You ever walk into the Walgreens and they have the box of mystery cards that promises unopened packs? That's I
bought those last week.
Yeah.
I know that Target in the past, they've had, the racing value packs and you get various packs from various issues. Some of them are like really old. And I think what they do is they just, like you said, Rich, they take them back and then they just repack them. And somebody's going to take a hit on the loss of what they paid for those cards. And I guess it's going to be, like Excel or whoever's buying those cards.
Right. Absolutely right, Logan. But, they will end up in collectors' hands in some way.
They will.
Another comment. Real collectors want flagship and refractors. I just want a set I can actually collect. A product that I can collect. I'm not asking for much. Okay. Here's an interesting question. There's also a contract on how many sets they can make. Now, this is another thing that I was getting at with Rich is that when I know when they took the license away from Donruss in 2005, they being MLB pronouns, pal. I think, didn't they announce that Tops and Upper Deck would be limited with the number of releases that they can make?
That was 17 years ago. So
that was 17 years ago.
You are probably correct. But remember what I said, all these parallel sets do not count against that total. At least they're not used to. Everything was not counting against that total. And that's one of your key things. Because it's a parallel set. They just consider it a parallel set, and they didn't consider it at the time. I don't know if that's still true today.
Right.
That was not considered a set towards their number. If you do Tops and you do Tops Montgomery Club, 582 Montgomery Club, it's still one. It's actually considered one product with a parallel product. I think that's still the same today.
Well,
that was definitely true way back in the day, which is why, Topps Gold wasn't an issue, even though it was a parallel set, and Topps Gold Winter wasn't an issue in '92 because it was a parallel set. And anytime you would do Tiffany, again, it would count. In the '80s, that counted as regular Topps. So, again, this is a long time ago, and I don't know what the schematics are today. But back in the day, that was not counting against your total number of sets. So if you've got Topps Montgomery Club, Topps Ben Baller, and they're all made the same way, you're not adding to your set total.
It would be nice if we actually knew these things, I'm just saying.
Well, and this is
anybody at MLB or the Players Association's listening.
But this is part of the old contract. Remember, the new contract kicks in a year or two. And I wonder if they've changed the language. And to Chris's point, I want to see some transparency to see if any of that changed.
We all want to see transparency. We all want to know what we're going to get. I think that's a very common, especially among collectors that are, want to pick and choose, so to speak, what they get. I'm sure I'm going to get a Topps One box next year. I guarantee you I'm going to get a Topps Heritage box next year. And after that, it's like, I don't worry. Then I wait till the end of the year and Heritage High Number and Heritage Minors comes out. And then I might play a little with getting some blasters at a Walmart. And then I'll just buy, I have 6 Dallas card shows. I'm very lucky. I have 6 Dallas card shows a year. I can buy stuff at a card show. I can buy singles at a card show. I have dealers that put stuff away from me. I'm very fortunate.
Yeah, I think the fact that we're here like 2.5 weeks remaining in 2022, and other than that prototype of Adley Rutschman that they released a couple of months ago, we still don't know much about we don't know anything about 2023 Topps, and I think that's kind of telling as regarding their plans for 23.
Well, I think
I'm okay with Chris. I'm okay with that. I mean, I really am okay with that. It's
I'm not. Normally Topps. We mentioned it takes a year for them to produce a product, but generally about 5 or 6 months before the product's release, we normally get a sell sheet that comes out.
Okay. Well, I will tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing that I wish they would do again, and I think maybe with a prize or two would be good. Remember the contest to say who would be card number 1? Have any of us seen the? Hey, who would you like to see as card number 1? And then you put all those numbers. You put everybody who signs into a drawing, and some lucky person wins some Topps products or something, or one of each, or just something, and get something for being the. You don't have to be the one choosing who card number 1 is. You can choose somebody else. But wouldn't it be nice to get a prize out of that? I'm just thinking in terms of, hey, we've done this the last few years. Let's goose it up a level and let's get something back to one consumer or 10 consumers, and let's do some prizes for that.
Well, in Topps' history, they've always had certain numbers that have been significant and certain players and certain, pieces. You can, to Rich's idea, you can carry that on for all sorts of stuff and tie it back in with the history of older sets.
Comment. Could you imagine just one set release in 2023? How many is too little? How many is too much? Well, first of all, nobody's saying we need to go back to one set a year. That would be nice, but I kind of like collecting, Topps, Bowman, Stadium Club Finest, but that's just me. I don't think we need 27 different releases with the same design. Let's see what else.
So, Chris, you need to come over and collect NASCAR. We only have 4 issues a year.
Are they the same design over and over and over again?
No,
they're all left turns.
Well,
Yep.
Okay.
They sure are.
Yeah. Let's see. Anything else? I hope you see the mud. Yeah, that's about as transparent as they get. Okay. All right. Halfway through the show, and I wanted to ask Rich a couple of questions about these cards that I pulled recently. I showed this card last time a couple of weeks ago. Rich, what is this?
I'm trying to see.
It is a card. It's got A-Rod on it. It's by Topps.
What's the back?
It says one free download.
One free download.
And the back is just a redemption for a code for an iTunes song. And this card expired in 2007, so
you've got my memory. Have you seriously, stuff like that we've probably gotten at ComC. Have you ever tried to go to ComC?
I've tried and I haven't seen it.
Okay.
That's the first.
Send me a scan or post it onto our group chat, and I will dig in tomorrow and try to find that for you.
All right. Second card. This is a 1998 Donruss promo card of Frank Thomas, but it's oversized and has these red bars at the top. I'll give you a comparison.
Okay, a lot of stuff from 1998 Pinnacle.
Yeah.
When Pinnacle was going out of business. Jade's there. Jade says, by the way, Jade works with me at ComC, says they do have that Alex Rodriguez card.
Okay.
So you can definitely go to ComC and figure it out. So thank you, Jade. And as for the Alex, for the Frank Thomas card, I will tell you that was Pinnacle was getting ready to bite the dust, so to speak, in 1998. There was a lot of stuff that they were still trying to produce. They were cranking till the very end, and they were doing things. And there's stuff that has come out of the Pinnacle offices that probably never should have come out, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has
this card, though, this Thomas card, this looks like a promo card, though, because it has a 97 copyright date. And it looks like it has the information on Series 1, 98.
Okay, so that's before Pinnacle went out of business. Again, Send me a scan. We'll look at, and I'll look at ComC. Jade probably knows better than I do whether it's already there, and we'll figure it out for you, Chris. But just put a scan into our group chat.
All I want to know is, where did these come from? Were these, obviously this wasn't in a pack. Was this in a pack? And if so, where? So
my guess is that the Rodriguez was probably issued with some product. I remember 1991 Score Like Football has a 3-card football folly set. And I bought that at some show, walked in 2015. Why isn't this in the Beckett database? And then my former manager was still at Beckett, and I sends him an email, and he says, "Yeah, wait a second, we should have listed that." And I mean, but it was issued as part of a video, and
Remember the phone cards?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was probably issued. It could have been issued directly to dealers. It could have been issued in a special product on your Frank Thomas.
Could have been a box topper, maybe.
Could be a
Maybe.
box topper. It could be.
So there it is.
There it is.
2006 iTunes download card. So don't know what set. Don't know if it was don't know if it was just given away somewhere. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, we have a bunch of them at ComC, so obviously it showed up somewhere.
Not worth
Jade,
that
if you
much.
remember, post where it came from.
So, anywho.
But there you go. Trust me when I say this. We get so many cards at ComC that we have to figure out sometimes where they come from. I mean, there is stuff every day I look in the database and I say, wow, where did this come from? And I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and we're still finding out things many years later about things that exist because we get things in all the sports and the non-sports.
Yeah, there's been a lot of obscure stuff. I mean, I know, Rich, you tagged me on a lot of those cards with funny names.
I always, and you know, all I'm doing is ComC work, and I tag you, and because you tell me you buy them, so I say, okay, that's a sale. I'm always, you know, it helps on that level. But hey, stunk, and I found you a Stankhoven.
Yeah, you did, and I bought it too. So it all worked out.
Yeah.
All right, we got.
Danny, you've been quiescent. What's your opinion of Chris's comments?
I think that this is a weird year of delayed production. Of what Rich said at the end of the quarter. I think it's the holiday season. I think there's no way Fanatics will run a business like this just from a pure business standpoint moving forward. So I asked Chris earlier if it was like this last year. He said no. I'd be really surprised if it's like this next year.
Right. And as I said, I think this is also a bit of a perfect storm.
And we did
numbers.
have a number of products that were released in November, December last year, just not to this level. So
quarterly numbers and catching up on what you're behind in. And that's why the products are coming out with such frequency.
And some of the products that are coming out are not coming out on time.
Right.
So
No.
They'll be January, February products, not December products.
Like Finest.
I mean, even Panini, you know, they only do 4 NASCAR issues a year. They still haven't dropped. Prism was already supposed to drop. It has not dropped. It's supposed to drop here later this month. And National Treasures has been pushed. 2022 National Treasures has been pushed to, I think, January or February of next year.
Right. As long as I get it out before the Daytona 500, I'm fine with that.
Agreed.
Chris, are you frozen?
He is frozen. He's doing a karate chop.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is a special on the Green Hornet Bruce Lee rookie card.
Danny and Logan, what other topics do we want to talk about?
Rich, I have one for you.
Okay.
What do you think about the highest selling CSG card ever, the Mantle?
I'm glad for my friend Andy Broom, who was at Beckett and then went to CSG. I'm glad he got to grade another 52 Mantle. And I'm glad for CSG getting a lot of positive publicity. They are a grading company. They have good inroads in other fields as well. And they're going to be around for a while. So very nice to see a very successful CSG sale. And we know with 52 Mantles, that's probably from the Rosen find. So the provenance is pretty good. And and the odds are good nobody played with that card. That card is as it was when Alan Rosen opened it 36 years ago.
I think it was crossed over, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
I think it was a crossover, yeah.
And if somebody has a lot of, if CSG or somebody did something to get into a CSG holder, good business on their part.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Does this put CSG now in like a solid third or maybe even second in the grading pecking order? There's PSA at number one.
Right. I think we all agree PSA is number one, and there is some movement going on in 2 through 4. And CSG has done many good arrangements. I believe is it CSG who is doing the authentication of, I think they're involved in the eBay authentication.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
And so good for, so CSG has definitely made major strides in the last year. And good for them. I mean, it's always good to see new blood enter the market. And they've continued not just to say, okay, this is our grading scale. They changed a little bit of their grading scale. They made some adjustments to it this year too. Probably I'm going to guess based on customer feedback or dealer feedback. Either way, that means they're listening and saying, we're going to make adjustments.
They've got a new label too. So I think that's helped.
Yeah, much more standardized, much better looking. But I think this, to the point of this being a marketing play, they have not really been known for vintage. I think they were kind of known for filling the gap during the pandemic, and to pull off something like that. I mean, you've seen it everywhere. I just wonder if it was in a PSA slab, what it sells for.
Well, I understand that, but remember, Andy Broom is considered among the top 2 or 3 vintage graders in the country. So I don't have any qualms about sending Andy Broom an expensive card to look at and to grade. And I think there's a lot of confidence with that.
So let me ask you guys, talking about grading, how would you rank all the grading companies now? Would you say, I'll go ahead and say what I think. I'm going to put, of course, PSAs first, probably SGC second, CSG third, and probably Beckett fourth. I mean, what do you guys think?
I guess what era changes my answer.
Yeah, well,
I will say the PSA is number 1, and then depending on the month and what's going on, SGC, CSG, and Beckett as an entity is somewhere between 2 and 4, and it sometimes slides up and down. But right now, it's going to be really tough to knock PSA off the number 1 perch. They have to lose so much of their market share. That's not happening for years.
That's not happening anytime soon at all.
I think it'll be interesting as all the prices come down everywhere, where people start finding values maybe on slabs and finding great cards that are undervalued because of the slab. If some of these companies are not going to make it, and I wonder if you'll find just great cards in a bad slab that'll be a real find for a collector.
Yeah,
I'm always looking for off-grade slabs, so
I'm sure you will. I mean, I'm a big, I always look casually when I go to the Dallas Card Show to see, hey, maybe there's a slab discount. Unfortunately, not too many vintage cards show up in the slab discounts. But if they ever start doing that, I'm going to say thank you. But one thing we've already seen is prices are starting to moderate. The SGC arrangement on Bowman Chrome at $9 a card was a master stroke. That's going to show us that we're going to be able to get. I thought we'd be stuck at 15 to 20, and somebody said Nat Turner at one point was saying we should be able to get back to $10.
Well, that was also to get SGC some more modern business because they're known as vintage.
Right. Yeah. So that's a great marketing move by SGC.
Mm-hmm.
But $10 a card. Logan, you're a PSA guy. PSA's hired a lot of people. $10 a card, they can probably handle it now that they're pretty much caught up on their backlog. And $10 a card, they're still making money, and they're going to keep their good employees employed. And you don't want to hire people to let them go.
Oh no, they've spent way too much money on, all phases of grading. They've got of course, you've got the graders, then you've got the people that do the specs, and then you got shipping. You've got all the different facets of the grading company. They're not going to want to let those people go. They spent way too much money training those folks. Yeah. So in order to keep the demand or keep the volume going, they're probably going to have to lower the prices. And I would love to see $10 cards. I'm hoping it gets that way in the near future. I mean, $15 is great, but $10 is, I think, probably the right price point for them, especially for like, modern cards for sure.
But they've got to cut down that 6-month time frame though.
Guys, I'm getting the clarion call from my wonderful doggy daughter, who's now running in the other direction. She's giving me the sign she needs to go out. And because I'm at home and not at the office, because I did not know I'd be calling in. So if you all excuse me, I need to
let the dog go PT.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for bailing us out, Rich.
Well, Danny, it's not 6 months now.
On the bulk,
I'm sending in orders and getting them back, in like a month.
On bulk?
Yes.
Wow.
It's not 6 months. It's not even close to that.
That's not 2020.
Their turnaround times have changed dramatically.
That's much better than I'm hearing. That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Oh no, and I just sent in a new sub the other day. It hasn't made it there yet and it hadn't been logged, but I know some people that have made turned in subs and they're getting them back like within a month or less. So I mean, and these, like I said, these are bulk.
I mean, if they can do that at that price point, it changes a lot of stuff for a lot of people. They've been sitting on for PCs and everything else.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I've got a lot of registry sets and cards that I want to get done for that, and now it's pretty much feasible. I mean, $15 to me still hurts a little bit. I'd like it down to maybe even, if they can't do 10, maybe $12 would be good. But we'll see how that goes. But their infrastructure, Danny, is now in place, and they've got it down to a science. The cards get in there. It's not taking them weeks to get logged or anything like that. I mean, they get there, they get logged in, that day or maybe even a day or so after. So they're not slowing down. They're actually getting everything sped up.
Also, the East Coast, I think, is going to help a lot.
Second, yeah.
And as somebody who ships, cutting down 2 or 3 days of shipping in each direction, is very appealing, and shipping cost.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see going forward once that office is open completely. How they direct things. Will they start telling people, okay, send it to this office or send it to this office? I don't know how that is going to work.
I mean, we're on the East Coast. I want the cheapest shipping possible.
Oh, heck yeah.
If you send enough, shipping is a big part of submission grading. If you're not from, if you do any quantity.
Absolutely. And then of course I said, I had an issue one time with a carrier that opened one of my submission boxes and stole some of my cards. Yeah. And it's, I sent it just in a regular box with clear tape. So of course I got burned pretty good. So now everything I send is registered mail. So it's costing me more money to send it, but I know that the USPS is going to handle it and hold it each step of the way till it gets there. So, and with that brown tape, nobody's going to tamper with it. So it does, you're right. The shipping is a big factor. Totally agree.
Do you, because the insurance, that's the other thing people don't realize. When you're shipping these cards for grading, if you're not insured and something happens, there's not a lot of remedy. PSA is not responsible until they get it.
No, they're not responsible till they get it. And yes, you better insure it for what you should insure it for what you think it's going to grade out at.
Yeah.
That's what I do. If I think these cards are going to get 9s, 10s, whatever, I go ahead and calculate that price up, and that's what I insure it for. Luckily, well, I say that I have had a Grail card that the USPS lost. Wow. And yeah, it was actually on the truck coming to my house, and it never made it.
It literally fell off the back of a truck.
It literally fell off the back of the truck or something. It was out for delivery, never made it. But luckily, it was coming back from PSA, and PSA carries their own insurance. They don't pay the Postal Service for insurance. Yep. So I got my money, but it was a card I was looking for 30 years, and
Oh,
it's the only one I've ever seen.
Oh,
And they had to lose that one.
man.
all of us are a little sad right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, I'm trying not to be Debbie Downer.
In our world, that's about as rough as it gets, buddy.
That's,
It is.
Yeah.
I told my son he's going to have to carry on
condolences and prayers. Condolences and prayers.
he's going to have to carry on the search because I don't think I have another 30 years in me to find another one.
All right. We got under 10 minutes to go. Let's end the show this way. What do you want Santa Claus to put under your hobby tree for this year?
Yeah, Danny, what do you want Santa Claus to put under your hobby tree?
Right? A menorah.
Menorah. Okay. Hanukkah Harry then.
No. I genuinely, I want 2023 to kind of, for the hobby to kind of settle back down away from the pandemic, away from a correction. I just want to get to a little bit of stability, get some answers on Fanatics, and it's been a real up and down, I think 12, 18, 24 months for the hobby, and I could use a little consistency. I think that's what I would like, less drama.
Yeah, I would like the hobby to be, I'd like for it to return to more fun. I mean, I know that there's a huge emphasis on investing and all these things and what's my cards worth. I mean, I hear that so much. And even when people find out that I collect cards, the first thing out of their mouth is, what's your collection worth? And it's like, I don't know. I collect for fun. And that's what I want it to be, is just return more to the pure collecting aspect of the hobby. Just have it be more fun.
Yeah. And what do I want? I'm kind of curious to see what Fanatics is going to do with Topps, because 2023 is going to be the first real Fanatics year for Topps baseball. The fact that, as I mentioned before, they haven't mentioned anything about 2023, their release schedule or any products
or distribution
or anything. They've released is that Adley Rutschman card, which we don't know. We don't know how big the base set's going to be. We don't know the levels of parallels, insert themes, those kind of things. Maybe they'll surprise us this year. I don't know. I've been keeping my hopes up for years, and Topps just keeps letting me down. And hopefully in 2023, under new management, we might get some fun back in the hobby, some products that are worth collecting again. So that's what I'm hoping Santa Claus brings to the hobby in 2023. So
that and I will definitely take that 52 mantle if it's offered.
Yeah, I used to own one of those a long time ago.
660 would be awesome. It would be even awesomer. A 792 card base set in flagship. You want that.
That's a big,
you want 792 again.
Right.
Oh, I'm looking at some of the comments. Shout out to Antonio calling all the way, or he's all the way from Juarez, Mexico.
Juarez, Mexico, home of Chivas.
Got a lot of friends in the room tonight.
All right. We got anything else we want to talk? This was a real slow hobby news week.
Yeah, there's not much going on this week, man, at all. I mean, nobody's buying anybody, nobody's causing any drama or any big drama that we know of.
Hold on. Topps has released another 3 checklists for 2022. So within the hour. Since we were on the air, we've gotten 3 more checklists from Topps.
And there's still no Jack Leiter or Kumar Rocker in baseball.
No. So
yeah, Kevin O'Neill from Topps must be watching.
Anyway, I know it's 5 minutes to the hour. We got anything else we want to say?
I mean, the NFL season. I wanted to touch on that real quick.
Go ahead.
Anybody real quick you would be buying that you didn't expect to be? Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy, 7th round pick. Is he really the next Brady? I don't know.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there losing their mind about that right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they said the same thing about Brady,
Well, that's true, but
I know, Logan, you wanted to mention Mike Leach.
oh yeah, real
the
quick.
old pirate who passed away.
Yeah, I'd like to send our condolences to Mike Leach's family from Hobby Hotline and the hobby community. We're thinking about his family and want to send him send his family some positive vibrations, and just we're thinking about him. I mean, it was a sad, tragic thing that he lost his life due to I think he had some kind of heart condition, and really sad to hear that. I mean, Mississippi State is, I live in Memphis, and Mississippi State's about like a 2.5 hour drive south of here. We've been there before. We go to, we don't go to a lot of SEC games, but we do go to a few. But like I said, our thoughts and prayers with his family right now.
And if you're not familiar, there's been some great pieces written about him. So if you don't know a lot about it, it's worth reading about.
Fascination with pirates as well, and
he's got great YouTube clips commenting on marriage. I mean, he was a character.
And a very innovative offensive mind in football with the air raid offense. I wanted to also take a few moments to remember Grant Wall, the soccer writer who, as soccer has grown in the United States, Grant Wall kind of grown with it. Really the first true world-class American soccer writer. And he died at the World Cup, which I think is, I don't know, ironic or even appropriate. I'm at a loss for words. Grant was really
doing what he loved.
Yeah, doing what he loves. And he also was before he started writing about soccer, he also wrote about college basketball for Sports Illustrated. And 20 years ago, he wrote an article that introduced the world to a schoolboy from Akron named LeBron James. And I went back and reread that article this week and how prophetic it was. And I think everybody should go back and read it. And the thing with Grant Wall that's kind of scary for me is that he's only about like 5 or 6 months older than I am. So it's getting to that age where, and I don't exactly, as you can see, I'm not exactly the paragon of health here. Yeah. So,
very well said, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a wrap. It's a wrap for this show. Be sure to be with us on Saturday at 11, 10 Central, 12:30 in Newfoundland. We'll be joined by Rich Klein again, John Keating, and Brody the Kid. And this time next week for episode 209, it'll be John Newman, Oscar Torres, and Ryan Nolan will be on the show. So that's all I have for this week. You guys have anything else?
You know what to say.
Thank you.
You know what to say. Keep on rocking in the free world, and we'll see you next time. Bye.